Hi friends, welcome to Moody Blooms. Today we're going to review all the different types of jade plants, the CRASSULA or CRASSULA varieties. There's so many different varieties. There's actually over 200 species of jade plants and about 1,400 to 1,500 CRASSULA varieties. And the jade is such a great plant for beginners or for the forgetful gardener because they don't require very much care. But if you treat it right, these plants can last a lifetime. And I've even heard stories of people passing them down, or I get emails, hey, I got this plant that I inherited from so-and-so. So it's really a plant that can last for a really long time if you treat it right. Jade plants can be trained into bonsai trees, and they can also grow into large, beautiful bushes. Many public and private spaces have decorated with jade plants because they're such an easy plant to maintain. They can thrive indoors in most environments, making their lush green leaves a great addition to any home or office. The CRASSULA ovata is the most common type of jade plant. You pretty much see it everywhere here in Southern California. But it's known as the money tree or the friendship plant or the lucky jade. It was the original variety of the jade plant that was first discovered. It's one of the most popular varieties in circulation today, and it's also one of the fastest growing of all the ovata cultivars. They get their name from their meaty jade green colored leaves that are usually shaped in like a tear shape or an oval shape or a wedge shape. These plants are incredibly hardy, and they're said to bring good luck and fortune according to the feng shui. When stressed, the leaf tips can turn pretty pink reddish colors, and in winter you can look for cute little flowers that bloom. Next we have the CRASSULA arborescens, and this is commonly known as the silver dollar jade, the bluebird, or blue Buddha bush. It's known for its silvery light blue leaves. The bluebird jade has a more circular leaf than the common jade plant. It's a slow growing plant, much slower than its cousin, the CRASSULA ovata, and also when this plant gets exposed to more sun, the edges turn this beautiful bright red to burgundy color that is just stunning. The flowers that grow from its tips are long-lasting and appear during the autumn to winter period. It can grow as a large bush outdoors, but it can also be kept more small and compact in a container. The CRASSULA arborescens bluebird variegata is commonly known as the bluebird money plant or variegated jade plant. It's a slow-growing, clump-forming succulent. It has a mixture of these aquas and creams and greens and reds, and it can hover around 20 inches tall, but its size can be much smaller if kept in a container. CRASSULA arborescens undulatifolia, commonly known as ripple jade, curly jade, jitters jade, or silvery jade, was first recorded in 1974. It was slowly introduced into the marketplace, and it's one of the waviest of all the jade plants. Ripple jade or curly jade is an attractive jade with twisting and curvy blue-green leaves. With a tight, compact growth habit, its natural bonsai-like facet, the thin, waxy leaves make it perfect for a contrast plant. When given room to grow, the ripple jade will form a dense, mounding shrub up to 3 feet tall. It works well outdoors as a landscaping shrub in frost-free climates in zones 10 to 11, as it is not cold hardy. It makes a great indoor plant in containers. Just be sure to make sure that it has access to light. Ripple jade is very drought tolerant, but it does need bright sunshine, well-draining soil, and good drainage. Water deeply only when the soil is thoroughly dry, and fertilize regularly for best results. When stressed in full sun, drought, or cold temperature, its waxy blue-green leaves can flush scarlet red at the edges. Flowers can be a rare sight on this jade, but it can produce clusters of white, star-shaped blossoms in late winter. This low-maintenance grower propagates easily from stem cuttings, leaves, and offsets. CRASSULA ovata variegata, or variegated jade plant, is also known as lemon and lime, and these plants are distinguished for their light green, pale yellow, and ivory-colored striped leaves. Like many jade varieties, the variegated jade plants can turn pinkish red at the tips when exposed to plenty of sunlight. These are much slower growers than the non-variegated version. It's just as easy to grow as the standard jade plant, but it features these silvery white streaks in the leaves. Like its non-variegated cousins, its flowers are pinkish white. While slow growing, it can reach 5 feet tall or more over time. As an outdoor plant, it does best in zones 10 to 11, and it is a beautiful succulent. Crassula ovata Hummel's sunset, or golden jade plant, has stunning sunset-colored leaves. Glossy yellow-green foliage sports red margins when exposed to full sun. It can be grown outside in zones 9 and up as a dense mounding shrub, or inside in a container as a bonsai with proper pruning. Its egg-shaped leaves sprout from thick woody branches and lighten when grown in full sun. Hummel's sunset is named after plant hybridizer Ed Hummel. The sunset jade grows best in full sun to part shade and is not cold hardy. The Crassula ovata Minima is a hardy succulent, and it is a dwarf succulent with thick trunks and branches. It's commonly referred to as miniature jade, and its foliage is rounded and fleshy with glossy green and reddish edges. It grows up to about 2.5 feet tall and about 20 inches wide. It's great as a landscaping plant or commonly used as a feature plant in arrangements. It's a low maintenance and drought tolerant succulent. Crassula ovata Hobbit is a much loved jade plant. In warm climates, it can grow outdoors as a small shrub, but it also really shines as a low-maintenance indoor plant because it tolerates low light conditions. When grown indoors, this plant stays small, and its woody branches make a great bonsai tree. Crassula ovata Hobbit leaves are shaped more like a spoon, with the edges curled in upon themselves. Instead of fully rounded leaves, they are more of a half circle, really tight and tall. The Crassula ovata Gollum has elongated tubular concave leaves with puckered ends that appear like little suction cups or trumpet tips. The finger-like leaves range in color from deep green, and the tips are tinged with red. The reddish hues on the tips intensify with sun exposure and cooler temperatures. The Hobbit plant is very similar to the Gollum jade, whose names are of course both from the Lord of the Rings movie. These two plants are very similar, and they're often used interchangeably. You can distinguish the two of them by looking at their leaves. The Hobbit leaves have a curled leaf, while Gollum's leaves are almost tubular with their reddish tint. Jade plants can bloom in winter with impressive clusters of delicate white flowers. This variety of jade can also be easily turned into a bonsai tree. If you're familiar with J.R.R. Tolkien's work, then the name Gollum will ring a bell. Gollum is an infamous character in Tolkien's popular books. The character Gollum is a disfigured hobbit brought on by a series of unfortunate twist of events. This plant is also known by common names such as ogre's ears, Shrek's ears, or finger plants. Portulacaria Afra is a South African native and serves as food for elephants in their natural native habitat. They have reddish-brown stems with glossy green leaves. They start out as a small bush and eventually grow tall and tree-like. These plants are very easy to grow and propagate and are popular among bonsai tree growers. This succulent is also referred to as mini jade, dwarf jade, or elephant bush, and are often mistaken for jade plants. This is because they resemble each other in a lot of ways. Although elephant bush closely resembles jade plants in appearance, they're not actually at all related. This is the variegated version of the Portulacaria Afra variegata, and it has stunning leaves with mixes of cream and ivory. Like most variegated versions, it tends to grow slower than the non-variegated version. Trailing jade is actually not technically a jade plant at all. Its botanical name is Senecio jacobsenii and is sometimes called weeping jade. This variety is native to the highlands of Tanzania and Kenya, where it creeps along as a ground cover. In cultivation, it shines in hanging pots, which allows its thick stems to form dense cascades up to about 4 feet long. Plants in the genus Cotyledon are often confused with jades, but the flowers are actually very different. Jades have clusters of small star-shaped flowers, usually in midwinter, and cotyledons send up orange bell-shaped blooms in early summer. The Cotyledon orbiculata, also commonly called pig's ear, is a popular South African succulent that many people in the Mediterranean climates grow. It's often confused for the jade plant, but it actually is part of the Cotyledon genus. Most jade plants are slightly toxic for human and pets. It will not cause death or serious illness, but can cause nausea, so it's best to keep away from your children and pets. Jade plants grow best at room temperature, but prefer slightly cooler temperatures at night and in the winter. Thanks so much for joining us on Moody Blooms. We hope you enjoyed all of these different jade varieties. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed our content. We hope to see you next time on Moody Blooms.